Have you peaked? Is this the best you're going to be? Or are you going to grow more this year? Is this going to be your biggest year of growth, right? Well, folks, I'm here to tell you, if you believe you're right where you need to be, then you're dying. And here's how I'm going to tell you that you're wrong if you believe you've achieved everything you're here to achieve. You're still here, man. God gave you another day. Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Hitstreak. I am your man, Nick Hyder. And folks, today's episode is a little bit different. It's a little bit different because of the time of year that we're in. So when you're listening to me today, it is December 31st, 2024, right? So let me be the first to tell you, Happy New Year, all right? But I want you to focus on those three words for just a moment. Happy New Year. I want to make sure that it's happy this year for you because it's going to be for me. And literally what we're going to do today, normally I would be introducing an amazing person to sit across the room from me, and I would interview them. They would tell some stories, and we would break down the playbooks in which they have found their success. What we're going to do today is I'm literally going to rant and rave and kind of mind map, plan out 2025. I'm going to look back on 2024 and plan out 2025 right here with you today. This is something that I've been asked to do quite a few times, as a matter of fact. Something that, hey, Nick, have you ever thought about doing a show just by yourself? Well, it's not a show, it's an episode. And, well, let's just say I'm pretty excited to do this today. So hang out, buckle up, strap in, take some notes. Folks, 2025 is going to be an amazing year, but you got to believe that at first, right? For it to actually happen. So let's get into it, shall we? So first of all, if you have not subscribed to the Hitstreak podcast, folks, I want to encourage you to do so. I don't ask for that very often. We're very blessed with a massive audience that's growing incredibly fast. Please like, subscribe, share this episode with other folks to encourage them to follow along with us on the Hitstreak. All right, so we're 160 something episodes in. I think 167 is the episode title today, or the episode number today. It's something that we're incredibly proud of, and the list of previous guests has been unreal. We're incredibly blessed here. We're incredibly blessed. All right, let's get into it, shall we? So, and I don't think this will take too long. I plan on being kind of quick because I like talking to people. I don't really like talking to myself, so to speak, right? So my final words for 2024, it's over. It's in the past. It's time to look forward. It's time to live forward. All right? So let's talk about some things that I did learn in 2024. I want to talk about what things that didn't change that maybe they should have, but also I want to look at the things that did change. I'm a big believer in self-talk and proper, positive self-talk, constructive self-talk. So if you only focus on the areas in which you fall short, those are the things that you'll end up manifesting, right? You have to give yourself a fighting chance. So the greatest baseball players on planet Earth, whether they are or not, believe that they're the best player on earth. That belief in yourself is the foundation in which everything else happens, right? So you're never going to outlive your own self-image. You're never going to outperform your own self-image. So how do you actually view yourself? As a winner? A loser? Average? Do you even know? Some of these things are the most important pieces to figure out how change has to happen, how change will happen, right? So when I look back at 2024, I'll be the first to tell you, I had more in the tank. I could have gave more. I could have did more. I could have became more. I could have served more. I could have believed more. My faith could have been stronger. But that's okay. Let's just take a moment and reflect. And more importantly, I'm going to forgive myself for all that right here in front of you, right now. And that's a challenge for me. Because as a competitive person, sometimes I might dwell on the things that I fell short of. So, and if you see me writing down some stuff here, I've got notes for days. And again, this is a little bit of a brain dump, right? But at the end of the day, what I'm telling you guys is I'm working on becoming more aware of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, who I'm doing it with. And in a plane ride back from a business trip just a few weeks ago, I got to have a conversation with a buddy of mine who's actually helping produce this episode today. He's behind the camera, named Antoine Robinson. And we had one of the most powerful conversations I had in the entire year of 2024. And two things came from that conversation that I'm leaning on in 2025. One, it was to roll the tape. To roll the tape. You want to see how I did it? Roll the tape. As an athlete, game film was extremely important, right? So I want you guys to start being aware of what it is that you're doing so that when you do great things, when you have success in your life, you can use that success. You can roll that tape. You can play it back. You can use it to grow. And the other thing is I'm going to ask you guys to fill in a blank at the end of this episode. All right, what blank are you filling in? Well, blank like this. Build like this. Grow like this. Serve like this. Love like this. What is it that you're going to focus on in 2025 to fill in your blank? So here's what I'm going to focus on. I told you guys I learned to be more aware. All right. I heard a very powerful statement, and it's actually mentioned in the Bible multiple times. I believe that the most powerful two words in the English language are I am. And whatever words you follow that with is your truth. In the South, here in Nashville at least, most common used greeting to say hello is, how are you doing? How are you doing? Most common response, good. Good. How many times did you get asked, how are you doing over the course of 2024? And how many times did you just affirm that you're only good? Unstoppable is the word that I like to use. If you ask my 3-year-old daughter, Ansley, how you doing? She will say, I am unstoppable. Folks, I've said it so many times now, thanks to all you saying hello, that I believe it. It's a core belief. And it's every action that I take, that's the foundation in which I'm moving forward. I'm unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. Right? So I became more aware of little things like that. I became more aware of all the little things that I do on a day in and day out basis that are a chance to grow a win, a chance to be excellent at something that's incredibly simple. But when you do things at an excellent or elite level over and over and over again, that becomes your new standard. The running joke at my house is like when I back my Jeep into the driveway, I park in the exact same spot every single time. When I get asked, why do I do that? Like literally, if I back in the driveway and I'm a foot or two off from my marks, I'm going to pull up and do it again. Why? Because that is a random opportunity to do something at an elite level. And when you do something at an elite level, or you do things at an elite level over and over and over and over again, Folks, you build momentum. Everything that you're doing is compounding, just like your investments compound. It took me years to build my first 7-figure business. And now we can churn them out multiple times a year, or even 8 or 9-figure businesses. Why? Because the knowledge has compounded. All those thoughts, all those times I told myself I'm unstoppable, they have compounded and grown in value to a place where now I believe it, and it becomes who I am and what I do. I became aware of the other 3 people in my household. A pastor told me once, Nick, it's great to grow, but you can't outgrow the people in your circle. I was like, well, what does that mean? You can't outgrow your people. You can't leave them behind. I don't actually believe people grow apart. I believe some people outgrow others. So as I'm challenging myself to grow leaps and bounds, it's very important that the people in my charge, the people that I'm in charge of, the people that are my biggest fan base and support base, my family, it's important that they're growing in the same direction and very closely to the same pace that I'm growing. Ask yourself just for a minute. When you grow, are you leaving people behind or are you taking them with you? How aware are you of these things, right? And when I was looking back, planning this episode, and about me being aware, I came down to basically 3 different sources that I needed to be more aware of. Number 1 was my thoughts. I realized that I really wasn't that aware of my own thoughts. I wasn't in control of my own mind. And I can promise you, the greatest competitor you have that you will face in 2025 is yourself, your own mind. If you can't win the war against your own thoughts, you will lose every war that you go out and face. I promise you that. So my thoughts were 1. Number 2 was my time. I have the pleasure of being around some folks that are way ahead of their journey than I am right now as we sit today. They've accomplished some great things. They're not better than me. They're just ahead of me. But the one thing that they all are incredibly disciplined and successful at, the one thing that they manage better than 99% of the other people is their time. And they ask me that question often, Nick, what do you do? And I would answer. And then they would say, and where do you spend your time? And I noticed that what I do, what I was planning to do, and then how I spent my time, they weren't moving in the same direction at the same speed. They weren't correlated at all, actually. So I started becoming more and more aware of the time that I spent, because we all get the same 24 hours. We all get the same 24 hours. So when you get that 24 hours, how are you spending it or are you investing it? Right? So becoming aware of, am I spending time or investing time? And is there balance there, right, to grow? And the third thing was the people. The people. If you're not around people that inspire you, you need to find them and you need to get around them. You need to be around people that you inspire, and you need to have some balance. And you need to be around people that inspire you. You need both. Why? Because when people inspire you, it's the people that you inspire that you get to live out that inspiration, that you get to take action, that you get to get better at practicing what it was that inspired you and giving it into and pouring it into others. That's the key. That's the key. Who you are has nothing to do with what you do, but it's what you do for everybody else. That is who you are. Right? And if you say, no, what I'm doing for others isn't who I am, they're not in alignment. Cool. You're now aware. Now you can fix it. Now you can take responsibility and fix it. One of the things that my wife and I constantly are relearning is when we fall short sometimes, we will sit there and fight or defend our losses. And I was having a conversation with a buddy the other day, and he was telling me all the reasons why he can't do certain things. And he was almost arguing with me over these things. And I'm like, dude, why are you arguing for your shortcomings? Like, why are you defending them if they're not okay? I want to thank all of our loyal fans that spread across all 50 states and 14 different countries. It's absolutely amazing. Folks, help us keep spreading the word, right? Share your favorite episodes with friends and make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the Hitstreak on all digital platforms. Thanks again, and we look forward to more. One of my favorite books, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. There's one core principle that he talks about in the beginning of that book that changed his whole entire mindset, his paradigm. And that was, instead of saying the word I can't, replace the words I can't with how can I. Now you're no longer making a statement of something that you can't do. You're asking a question of how you can do it. And that is the first step in all growth. You got to know where you're going so that you can figure out how to get there. I mean, isn't that how your GPS works? It only works if you tell it where you're going, and it tells you all the possible routes to go to get there, as well as how long it's going to take. And then when things come up, when life happens, it'll even say, hey, here's some other routes that you can take with a new arrival time. All of us use a GPS, right? So it's in the palm of our hand. How can we apply that knowledge and that tool into our own lives, right? So what I've decided, folks, is that I've decided to freaking level up, man. I've been talking about it for a long time, and I'm going to level up. I'm going to level up professionally. I'm going to level up at home. I'm going to level up as a husband, as a father, but most importantly, as a Christian man. I'm going to level up. Now, what does that mean? Well, I told you guys, my family has to grow with me. I can't leave them behind. That's the first thing, right? And I look back at 3 things in 2024. The time that I spent, the people that I spent it with, and the money that I made to support or grow the time with the people that mean most to me. For me, that's what the money's for. It's a tool to create more time and to serve the people that are that are in my charge or that I'm leading. My family, my coworkers, my work fam, my friends, the people that mean most to me, and some strangers that need it most. Right? So when I look at my time, my people, and my money, I got to ask a couple questions. Because first of all, 2024 was a building year. I identified that early. It was a year of expansion. 2025 is the year of execution. And if you follow along with me for the next few weeks, you're going to see what execution looks like. All right? So let's take a look at the time, the people, and the money. When I look back at 2024 and what I'm going to do differently in 2025. And this is my question for you. One of the greatest lessons I learned in 2024 was that gratefulness and entitlement cannot coexist. You cannot be grateful for something you are entitled to. So let me ask you, are you grateful for the time you got, or are you entitled to the time you got? My buddy Brad Lee got a standing O on a recent keynote, and this is how he ended that keynote at the end of the day. It's around Christmas time, so he's telling the story about his kids, and they wanted some four-wheelers. And at the end of the day, he said, so I went out and got them the Razor four-wheelers. You know, they're awesome. Best they can get. And he woke up, the kids came out the next morning, they got their gifts, and basically they were saying are they gas-powered, and so on and so forth. They kind of turned their nose up at him, and then it turned into, what else did we get? right? And he said in the keynote, he was like, I kind of like, it rubbed me the wrong way. But he said the lesson that I learned from that was, think about that from God's perspective and time. You wake up, God gave you another day. Were you entitled to it, or were you grateful for it? When he gave you that other day, were you like, do I get this? Do I get that too? Or were you grateful for the gift of one more day? At the end of the day, that's what we're all here for. That's the most valuable thing that we can be given, is another day here. What's the alternative? So when it comes to your time, are you entitled to it, or are you grateful for it? Every moment that you get. Let's talk about the people. Are you grateful for your wife or husband? Or are you entitled to them? Are you grateful for your wife and kids? Or are you entitled to them? When that 3-year-old little girl won't go to bed at night, staying up all night long, and you got a busy day the next day, are you grateful for that little surprise, that gold nugget, a little time that you normally don't get in the middle of the night when she's snuggled up next to you in that bed, keeping you awake? Or are you entitled to the sleep that you didn't get, and are you going to let that ruin your next day? It's all perspective, man. Everything is perspective. Let's talk about the money. 2024 was a good year. We're still totaling some things out, right? Working with some great people on the look back of the financial year 2024. Biggest one we've ever had. So we're trending upward. That's good. But again, I told you I had so much left in the tank. Folks, some of the things we're doing here in 2025, I started dreaming about. I started manifesting 2-3 years ago, maybe even longer. The studio that I'm sitting in today, we started building it in 2020. It was completed in 2021. What we're doing in 2025 is the next chapter to what we did in 2020 and 2021. So I'm asking myself, what could I have done differently to collapse that time? To do what we're doing next. Looking back, it shouldn't have taken as long as it's taken. So what made it take so long? Well, my belief was a big part of that. The people that I was growing, let's just call it the opportunity with, weren't the right people. Sometimes you just got to get in the car and drive, man. I heard it from the pulpit not long ago that God will not steer a parked car. You got to get in, and you got to have enough faith to just start driving and know that God is going to help steer when the time is right, when you need it. Sometimes God is going to let you steer to test your faith, which is the greatest gift at the end of the day. God's given me a hand up, not a hand out. There's an old saying my dad used to say all the time, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. The lessons that God teaches us along the way from our own mistakes are the gifts, yet those are mislabeled in our own minds as the things that beat us, that squash us. Right? It's 100% perspective, right? So mindset is a word that gets used a lot. So for this episode, at least, for me, mindset is thoughts. It's perspective and making sure that my day is full of gratefulness versus entitlement. All right? Because at the end of the day, they have to align. Folks, your time, your people, and your money, you got to fall in love with all three. Right? Because that's how you're going to grow them. You grow things that you love. Right? So you have to find a way to fall in love with things that you're not good at and that you don't like. All right? You want to change the shape of your body, you got to change what you put in it. I understand that what you like is what caused the curves that you're trying to remove from your physical reflection in the mirror. So you have to do away with things that you're comfortable with and do things different. If you want to change things in a big way, you got to make big changes. Right? And I want you guys to fall in love with the process. Financially, we're blessed. There's no gym in town that we couldn't have multiple memberships at. There's no gym in town that we probably couldn't close to the public when we wanted to work out. However, we work out in our garage with no heat and air. Why? Because it's hard. It's hard in August when it's 115 degrees in there. It's hard in January when it's, 10 degrees in there. No shirts allowed, by the way, at least for the guys. Right? My wife and daughter can wear shirts, but my son and I, that's a thing. But look, man, my competitor for that day isn't just me. It's also the elements. It's the weather. Every single day that I get to go out there and work out in that gym, it's an opportunity to to beat the competition. The competition, certain times of the year, is the weather, man. It's hard. It stings. It's a challenge. It's the growth. Right? We're filling in blanks, right? Train like this. Believe like this. Faith like this. Instead of making goals for 2025, let's make plans. I don't think the word goals is serving us anymore. I think maybe we've used them too many times. Instead, let's make plans. They mean the same thing at the end of the day. But let's make plans to the things we want to accomplish in 2025. And then most importantly, dude, you got to get good at making choices. Every choice that you make, and by the way, did you know that 80 or 85% or more of the choices that you make any given day in your life, that 80 to 85% or more of those choices were made subconsciously, meaning you were not even aware of the choices that you made. What does that mean, Nick? Which shoe do you put on first every day and why? For me, it's always the right foot. But when I put pants on, it's always my left leg first, which is a little bit different. But I don't know why. I can't tell you why. That's just something that happened a long time ago that became a part of who I am. I brush my teeth with my right hand. Brush it with your left hand and tell me how much more of your mind you have to use to brush your teeth. But the moment that you do something like that, you break those habits. You break those things that got you to where you're at. Again, change is required to grow. You cannot grow without it. Change is inevitable, but the growth part, that's up to you, right? You got to get good at making choices. Are you even aware? Remember, I'm aware. Are you aware of the choices that you're making on a daily basis, day in and day out? And how many of those choices were taking you to execute your plans, or were they taking you further away from execution of your plans? One of the most viral clips on my social media in 2024 was I was on a podcast and I was talking about how my wife and I are raising our 15-year-old son. He has big dreams. He's a big dreamer. He's a great dreamer, as a matter of fact. Check it out. Everybody knows he was, at 11 years old, he was cast as a lead in a Broadway musical. The arts were something that he excelled at and loved at a young age, not sports. However, he's always played sports. And around 12 or 13 years of age, he got the bug. He found the love for the game of baseball, and he's obsessed with it now. So not only does he still want to be a famous rock star and an actor, movie star, and all those things, but he also wants to play center field for the New York Yankees. Now, stay with me here, all right? Hear me out. He wants to play center field for the New York Yankees. All right, I played baseball at a high level. I played the professional levels for multiple years. I played with some unbelievably great players. I had a lot of teammates. More importantly, I had a lot of competitors that I played against. I didn't play against one person or have a teammate in the history of my baseball career, which was over 2 decades, did I play with somebody that played center field at Yankee Stadium, which is what my son said is his dream. Everything he's doing is to play center field at Yankee Stadium. So how do my wife and I support that dream for him? Because I unfortunately, I can't make a call and make that happen, right? He's going to have to earn it. It's going to have to be up to him. Life is fair. Everybody's price is just different. What is his price to get to Yankee Stadium, right? Why center field at Yankee Stadium? Because his favorite player is Aaron Judge. Guess what? Aaron Judge is almost 7 feet tall and is an elite athlete in multiple sports and was in high school. Ethan is not the size of Aaron Judge yet, and he doesn't have the same athletic abilities Aaron Judge has yet, which means to get to the same place, his price is just different. So once he figures out what his price is, he can actually decide, is he willing to pay that price or not? Okay? So why did I tell you I don't know one person that played center field for the New York Yankees? Because that's how rare, that's how unique and special that position is. So how do you get there if you're making the same decisions that other people make? It's hard to support your son knowing that he wants to go to the football game with his friends. He wants to drink the 17th Dr. Pepper of the day. Dude, what do you want more? Do you want the Dr. Pepper right now, or do you want to play at Yankee Stadium in 5 years? But you have to pick. You have to pick what's important to you now versus what's important to you in the big scheme of things, this thing called life. And you have to learn to make choices in that align with those two things. So as we're raising him, what we're teaching him is not how to get to Yankee Stadium. We're teaching him how to make the choices that will get him to Yankee Stadium. At the end of the day, that's the greatest thing that we could have learned in school. Besides some basic common things like reading, writing, math, history, speech, we could learn how to make better choices. We could learn how to build plans and then format a set of choices to help get us there. The choices are the key. And a lot of times we're not aware that the choices we're making right now are for today, not for the future, not for the plans that we've set, or at least that we told us that we set. And at the end of the day, if you tell yourself you want to play center field for the New York Yankees, and then you do the same things that regular people do, isn't that a version of lying to yourself? Is that what we're in the business of doing here? Like, seriously, if you won't even be honest with yourself, how honest can you be with other people? The Hitstreak is powered by our partners at HitLab Creative Studios. Whether it's launching your brand new podcast, rebranding your current podcast, or taking advantage of any of their other content packages specifically for your social media needs, the HitLab is a one-stop shop for you. Visit hitlabstudio.com for more. So how did I fix all this? How did I get here? I believe it was 2 or 3 years ago. Folks, I come from a wonderful household. My parents gave me everything that I needed. Not that I wanted, but that I needed. They were unbelievable parents. And I haven't told them enough. They're still unbelievable parents today. I'm still lucky to have them. And they did an unbelievable job. You ought to see the growth from where they came from to where they're at today. It's my job to make that same growth or larger from where I came from to where I'm going, and my kids and so forth. But when my son, I guess it was during COVID, Everybody's at home. My son was like, Dad, he loved the Incredible Hulk, superhero, Spider-Man, all that stuff. And he saw old pictures of me when I was a professional athlete and I was in peak form. Dad, I want big muscles like that. Cool. Well, we can work out together. I'd love to work out with you. Let's do it every day. It's an act of obedience. It's an act of growth that my son and I can share every single day, and we can track this journey together. We're still working out every day together. Our weight room has grown. Our goals have grown. But here's what I figured out about myself. Excuse me. I figured out that my success in all areas of my life mirrored my faith. My faith was just good enough, and so is every other aspect of my life. My commitment to my faith, my commitment to my health, my commitment to my relationships, my commitment to my time, my people, my money, my commitment to my thoughts were all just good enough. Here's what I mean. So I'm going to have abs, all of them, not just the top 4, all the abs, the ones at the bottom, the ones on the sides, all that, right? And we'd be out there, we'd be working out, my clothes would start fitting good. I'd start feeling good. I don't have all the abs yet, but all of a sudden it's like, man, is that necessary? My clothes fit good. I feel good. Performance is good. Relationship's pretty good. That's good enough. And I would lose my discipline. I would lose everything. And see, I realized that I was a quitter. I was not raised to be a quitter. I was raised to be a finisher. All right, quitters and finishers, they're hard. It's hard to tell the difference sometimes. As a matter of fact, I really think you can only decide if you quit or finished. Like, I think you can only do that through self-reflection. I think only you can answer that to yourself, right? And in your faith. So by doubling down on my faith, that's spilled over into all other aspects of my life. My faith is the anchor. It's the foundation. And by leveraging that, by putting that first, everything else fell into place. And it's continuing to fall into place. But it's not something that, like, how do you finish in your faith? Well, again, you make plans, you make goals, you make chapters in your life, and you finish each chapter. You finish writing each chapter, right? Remember, we're talking about living forward. Have you peaked? Is this the best you're going to be? Or are you going to grow more this year? Is this going to be your biggest year of growth, right? Well, folks, I'm here to tell you, if you believe you're right where you need to be, then you're dying. And here's how I'm going to tell you that you're wrong if you believe you've achieved everything you're here to achieve. You're still here, man. God gave you another day. If God gave you another day, tell me that he didn't leave you here for a reason. Tell me that he didn't give you that day for a reason. And that's the most beautiful part of it, is we get to figure out what that means. What that means to each of us, right? So there's 3 things. I got some notes here I'm going to look at. There's 3 things that I want to level up, that I am going to level up in 2025. Some of them we're doing a pretty good job with, and this is the theme for 2025 for old Nick here, right? So there's 3 skills that I need to master to unlock financial freedom and boost my wealth. All right. So I believe rich is money, wealth is time. I want to boost my wealth in 2025. I've gotten good at making money. Now I need to get good at making time. And you don't have to sacrifice money to do that. You just got to learn to make money and understand that knowledge compounds. That money will compound if you put it in the right places. And guess what? Your time will too. Your time will compound when you are putting it in the right places. That's good. That's good, baby. So here's the 3 things that I'm gonna master. And this is something that came from that conversation at the airport with Antoine. Folks, you need an Antoine in your life. You need an Antoine in your life. He's got room. You could probably have Antoine in your life. He's got room. And the coolest part is you get to meet the people that Antoine has in his life that makes him grow. But you need an Antoine in your life. And here's the first thing that he taught me. He said, Nick, you need to really focus on turning those relationships into partnerships. Why? Because the relationships are great. They require trust. They require loyalty. And relationships have to go, that trust and that loyalty has to flow in both directions. Otherwise, it's just kind of stupid. Right? But those relationships, when you add value that you can identify in those to grow together, that becomes a partnership. Partnerships are not all about business. My wife and I are in a partnership. It's called marriage. Right? We're in a partnership raising kids. Find the value that you bring to others and find out people that need to bring that value to others and partner up. Partner up. So that's number 1. Turning business relationships into partnerships. Number 2, and I feel like we've done a great job with this. However, there's literally new cameras we're shooting with today. I'm looking at another one right here on the side. It's time to level up, baby. 160-something episodes of the Hitstreak in, we're blessed. I'm grateful. But when you got better tools right here, why not use them? Why not show you the growth that I'm talking about? Right? It's time to level up. Even the footage in which we're shooting today. So if you haven't taken your content to a pro level yet, it's my mission to show you how in 2025. And guess what? I'd say my content's at a pro level, but I'm not done. I feel like we're just getting started. So, and I have to keep growing because I'm teaching people the journey in which I took. There's multiple ways to take your content pro. There's multiple ways. The ways that I can speak to are the ways that worked for me and the people that helped me. So if I stopped growing today, I could only take you to where I'm at today. But if I keep growing, the value that I will bring you is endless. It never stops growing, right? So it's my mission in 2025. And there's some big things coming that we've leaked a couple things, but I can't say too much about it today because the timing's not right, but it's coming. Some big things happening that I've been manifesting since 2020, like I told you before. So I'm going to teach people how to take their content pro. And third, you've got to leverage AI to enhance and move faster, cheaper, and better in all aspects of your business. AI is a tool. And just like anything else, my car is a tool that I use to get back and forth. If I don't serve that tool, if I don't, change the oil in my car, if I don't take preventative measures to serve that car, over time it won't be able to serve me any longer. So I have to invest in my tools. And AI is one of the greatest. Like, my favorite thing about AI is it's as good as you tell it to be. It's a bot that you train. And if that bot is in alignment with what you're doing, if that bot can extend who you are and what you're doing, you're training it right. These bots can, I won't say replace people, but the problem with people is they get sick, they need time off, they got to sleep, they got to go home, they got families to serve, and so on and so forth. AI has none of those things. It never calls out sick. It never needs a day off. It doesn't take a holiday. and it doesn't have anybody else to serve other than who you tell it. It's a very strong tool. I think right now where it's failing people is they're using it, they're leaning on it too much, meaning they haven't trained it properly. So how do you train AI? Well, you feed it information. As a matter of fact, how do you win the war against your own mind and can train your own thoughts? Right? Well, what information are you making decisions off of? One of my favorite jokes Brad tells in his keynotes is he says, if you want to change your thoughts, you've got to get new information. Antoine, I love this one. He said, somebody told me fire was hot. I didn't believe him, so I stuck my hand in it and got some new information. Folks, if you want to change your paradigm, if you want to change your thoughts, get new information. This was a big election year that we just ended. My advice to everybody in 2025 is I want you to go back and think about how much time you spent watching politics, listening to politics. And I want you to really reflect, and I want you to ask yourself truly, how did that serve you? And let's say you averaged 15 hours a week watching clips on social from press conferences or media coverage of politics and so on and so forth. And I want you to, let's just say it was 15 hours a week, which is probably pretty modest for most of us if we actually went through and audited the amount of time. But let's say it's 15 hours a week times 52 weeks. 780 hours. Remember I talked about being aware of your time? Remember I talked about being aware of the people you spend your time with? When you're watching these media personalities, remember, trust and loyalty has to go two directions. Your trust and loyalty, when you sat there and watched those and you believed what they told you, it flowed that direction. Did it flow back? Myron Golden has a great analogy about watching sports. And as a sports guy, I love this. I love it. He said, there's two ways in which you watch a professional do something like a football game, a baseball game, or something like that. And this is very important to how my son and I are fans of the game of baseball. Are you watching, quote unquote, your team? And are you watching them to be entertained or to be inspired? Think about this for a minute. When your team loses, you're a diehard fan. When your team loses, it ruins your whole dang day, man. Be honest with yourself. Be real. When your team loses, it hurts. Does it hurt you more than it hurts the team that lost? You had no control in the outcome of that game, by the way. No control. Yet you gave up control of your own life based on the outcome of that game, on something that you can't control. So when my son and I watch games, it never fails. When I go to Yankee Stadium, I'm not there to be entertained. I'm there to be inspired. I want to be in Yankee Stadium and say, Nick, you're 44 years old. Oh, they're still away. Just not maybe in a Yankee uniform playing. But maybe I'm wearing a jersey and I'm talking to you from Yankee Stadium. Maybe I'm interviewing the next great Yankee for you. I go there to be inspired, and I make sure my son watches it the same way. And I would encourage you guys to do the same thing in all aspects of your life, whether it's media, sports, or anything else that is your recreation. Right? If you spend time doing something that is not your family and is not how you make money for your family, it's called a hobby. Right? My wife holds me accountable to this, and I'm grateful for this. One of the things I've had to get way better at is understanding who to spend my time with. Because if I'm spending time with people that's not my family and we're not making money doing it, it's a hobby. I might as well be playing golf because the outcome's the same. 15 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, 780 hours. If you had re-aimed that time back at yourself for personal development, if you'd have put just a half of that 780 into your faith, where would you be? You have to ask that question. This is why 2025 is going to be the year of change. The Hitstreak is powered by Team Hider. Team Hider has been serving you for 11 years and has racked up over 20 national and local awards for excellence in all areas. When it comes to finding the right health plan, we need to consider your family's needs and your family's budget. That's what we do to serve you. To look further and to book an appointment, visit teamhider.com. In 2020 and in 2021, we made great changes. We built the facility we're in. We've launched a business from this facility, and we're launching new businesses from this facility. We're actually launching new facilities from this facility with the right people. But when I look back at New Year's Eve 2020 to 2021 and New Year's Eve 2024 to 2025, I got to tell you that New Year's Eve 2022 and 2023 were almost in the exact same location. Meaning I started a year with ambition and ended the year in almost the same place. That's the definition of I'm entitled to those 365 days versus I'm grateful for those 365 days. Because if I'm grateful for them, I'm a lot more aware of the gifts that are in front of me and that are at my fingertips for use. Versus when I'm entitled and I only see the things that are wrong. Folks, we've been going at this for right around 50 minutes, right? And at the end of the day, it's your time, it's your people, it's your money. It's your thoughts. It's your plans on all four of those things. It's understanding the people in your life, the relationships that you have, and the value that has not yet been added. The end of something is the beginning of something else. That's how you know you finished. God don't move a parked car, or he won't steer a parked car. You got to get in, you got to double down on your faith. You got to believe and you got to make movement. There's a saying called analysis paralysis. I do believe that it's real, but think about it. What is analysis? It's your thoughts. How can your thoughts paralyze you? How can you allow your own thoughts to paralyze you? I told you I was just going to rant and rave a little bit, right? Just rant and rave a little bit. So here's where I'm going to kind of bring it together, right? My final words of 2024 is it's over, right? The rearview mirror is way smaller than the windshield of your car. Spend time looking through the windshield. You can see a lot more. The past you can't change. The future's still being written. You're the author of your own book, of your own life. And if you got a wife and kids or a husband and kids, you got people that lean on you and depend on you every day, well, they're reading that book that you're writing, whether you're aware of that or not. It comes with great responsibility. So, and I want to kind of leave you with this. There was a video on the internet that was extremely popular years ago. I don't even know how long ago. But it goes back to life is fair. Everybody's price is just different. Okay? Life's going to happen, by the way. And it's the hardest at the end. The biggest obstacles are going to happen right at the finish line. Life's going to happen the hardest right at the end of whatever it is you're finishing. That's what makes it worth it. All right. And at the end of the day, you got to pick a hard. All right. It's hard to be poor and it's hard to be rich. Pick one. Right? It's hard to be unsuccessful. It's hard to be successful. Pick one. It's hard to be a faithful man, but it's also hard to be an unfaithful man. Pick one. You get to pick. And you and only you can actually make this decision. So this video, it was a bunch of kids, teenagers. They were going to race. They lined them up on the starting line, finish line's way forward. They said, now, before we start this race, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. All right? So the first question was something like, if you grew up and you had both of your parents in the household raising you, take 2 steps forward. Some of the questions were, if you never missed a meal because there wasn't food on the table or money to buy the food, take 2 steps forward. If you had loving, supportive parents that shared your dreams, take 2 steps forward. It was showing that life's fair, everybody's price to win that race is just different. Your circumstances do not define you. And a lot of times we let them. What's happening to us is only what's happening to us. It doesn't change what happens next. We do. Which is why you have to look forward, because when you're looking back, you're focusing on the things that happened to you. If you look forward, you realize all those things happened to you, they actually happened for you. Because that's new information that you needed to take that next step. The problems that I solved in 2024 are the information that I needed to win in 2025. Those were the gifts. Those problems were the true gifts. And the one thing I didn't want to do is be just like every other guru that comes in here and tells you things. Folks, this is me mapping out 2025. This is real talk about the things that I'm telling myself, that my family is focused on, that my teams are focused on to grow and win in 2025. Because God gave me this year. What am I going to do with it? That gift that God has gave me in another day comes with great trust and great responsibility. And look, man, I ain't perfect. I'm going to have bad days. I'm going to have bad days. I'm going to have days where I don't necessarily win. However, if winning is my habit, if winning is my norm, then I'm going to win more than I lose. And I'm going to move forward. So before we started shooting this episode, there's a young man that came in with the coolest Air Jordan jacket I've ever seen. And the reason that I love the Jordan brand, besides the fact that I think they look good, besides the fact that I like them, and I have since I was a kid, when asked why Derek Jeter was the first Jordan brand ambassador, Michael Jordan said, why Derek Jeter? He doesn't even play basketball. And his response is because he's going to win. He wins. And that's what the Jumpman logo means to me. Every day I get to lace up those shoes or put on something with that logo on it. It's just a simple reminder. It means to win. And God put me here to win. He put me here to lose. But he put me here to lose so I can win. And at the end of the day, folks, that's kind of how it comes together, man. You know, you got to learn how to control your mind. You got to learn how to make the right choices. You got to figure out how to where and how you add value to not just the people in your life, but the people that are coming into your life. The people that you're put here to serve, which is, by the way, who you used to be. And I'm going to say it again. We got to get better at turning relationships into partnerships. I know I'm going to. It's my mission in 2025 to teach you how to take your content to a pro level, which is going to teach you how to scale, which is going to teach you how to reach others, right? And then we've got to learn how to leverage the technology, the AI, at our fingertips, right? So in 2025, there's a lot of really great things coming down the line. There's some great partnerships that are new, that are going to reap some amazing fruits. And I'm excited about that. 2024 was the year of expansion. It was to figure out who those people are and where the opportunities lie. 2025, it's all about the execution, right? So instead of setting a goal, set a plan. And instead of setting a to-do list, write a to-be list. Folks, it's time to grow. 2025 is going to be your best year yet, or not. And you get to decide. 2025 is going to be your best year yet, or it won't. You choose, right? But when you make that choice, you got to be all in on it. You got to remind yourself every day. And if you fall short, you're the reason why. When you fall short and you fail, it is your fault. And by taking that ownership, you now have empowered yourself to fix whatever went wrong, and grow to take out whatever it is you're here to take out next. So folks, God bless you guys. Thank you for everything, for following along, for all of the time you spend with us on all these Hitstreak episodes. Thanks for tuning in to SiriusXM's Y'Alternative, hanging out with me there. All of our amazing followers on YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, all of them. Thank you. I'm grateful for you. I have a great opportunity to serve you there. Your feedback is incredible. I want to know how to better serve you. I want to know how to grow and get better. I don't have it all figured out. Your feedback helps me do that faster for you. I want to think about all the people that have trusted me in business, life, and friendship. I want to thank my parents for instilling the foundation of faith that's in my heart that fuels everything that we do, folks. I'm grateful for all of it. I'm not entitled to anything. I'm grateful for every single bit.
The Hitstreak is powered by Rack Financial. When it comes to your credit card merchant processing, Rack Financial is efficient, reliable, and trusted. At the end of the day, when it comes to processing your credit card payments, they make it simple, the way it's supposed to be. Check out Rack Financial.
And do me a favor. If this episode helped you out and fed you, let me know, man. We keep talking about a spin-off show where it's just me. Keep talking about doing more of these. We're working on some stuff. I'd love to hear back from you because, again, we want to serve you better. So, again, if you have not liked or subscribed to the Hitstreak podcast on all podcast platforms and YouTube, right, you can find it by searching for my name or simply the Hitstreak. All my socials are at Nick Hyder. Click the like, click the follow, click the subscribe, click them all. I'm here to feed you. This is for you. You don't want to miss a thing, I promise. And stay tuned for what's next, man. For all new things coming up, nickhyder.com stays updated. Everything you need is there, man. Folks, this is your year, baby. This is your year. And everything that you've done to this place is going to compound. Remember those two most important words in the English language. I am
You get to fill in the rest. And my last thoughts for you today, whatever it is that you're called to do in 2025, fill in your blank. Blank like this. Why blank like this? Because you get to show others how you did it. There's other people that need to do the same things that you're doing. You're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you used to be. So blank like this. I'm telling you guys, grow like this. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Hitstreak, folks. I am your man, Nick Hyder. God bless.